I was hoping we could talk about free will.
Love that.
You say you endowed us with free will and the ability to make our own choices.
Yes, and that's why when you get punished for making bad choices, it's not my fault, see, because I didn't force you to do that. Choices have consequences, and I love you enough to let you make your own choices, even if it means that sometimes you're gonna make choices that really bum me out.
Great answer.
Thank you.
And you're omnipotent?
Huh?
You're omnipotent, correct?
Oh, yes.
Omnipresent and omniscient as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know everything that ever has or ever will happen. All things are happening presently for you at all times, and it is impossible for anything to happen that you don't know about or that you do not wish to happen.
Uh-huh. Pretty much, yeah.
So how can I make a choice that you don't want me to make? Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, free will. Free will. You have free will. You get to, you get to do...
But it's impossible for anything in the universe to happen unless you want it to happen. Nothing happens unless you will it to.
That's right.
So I cannot make a choice that you don't want me to make because nothing can happen unless you want it to.
But I don't want you to sin.
Well, then I shouldn't be able to. If it's not your will for me to sin, then it should be cosmically impossible for me to do so, according to your own self-described design.
Donald Trump is president.
What?
Trump 2024.
So this is a comment from a video I made about free will and about whether or not free will actually exists, particularly in the context of a universe that was created by a god who says that nothing in that universe can happen unless he wants it to. And a very common theistic answer to that question that cropped up a lot in the comments of that video is, well, it is his will for you to have the ability to choose things that he does not want you to choose. He wants you to be able to make choices that he does not want you to make. Therefore, it is his will for you to be able to do that. And this is great. This is great because it means that we can go deeper down the philosophical rabbit hole of what choice is. What are the properties of choice and free will, and how does it actually function? Like, for instance, is it possible for me to freely make choices without first being adequately informed about all of the consequences of those choices? Another interesting question is, can you make choices freely if you are being coerced? There's a blue button and a red button, and someone's holding a gun to your head and saying, push the blue button or I'll shoot you. You push the blue button because you don't want to die, but the question is, did you actually freely make that choice, or did you just make that choice under duress or because you were being threatened with a very severe punishment? You could say you have informed consent in that situation. You are informed about what the consequences of your decision will be, but the consequences are coming in the form of a threat from an outside entity who is using that threat to manipulate your decision. Another interesting territory to explore is the idea of, like, totality of choice, or how many choices am I able to make? Thought experiment. You find yourself in a room with no doors, and there's a TV and a video game console that has a note on it that says, play me. You start playing the video game and there's a character that tells you, hey, it's really, really simple. All you gotta do is make it to the end of the game and do everything correct, and you'll get this amazing reward. You get to actually live for eternity with the creator of this video game, and it's really, really cool where he lives. Downside is, if you don't properly complete this game to the creator's satisfaction, a trap door opens in this room and you go to an eternal torture realm. So the gameplay for this game is loaded with decision making. I'm walking up to things and I get to choose whether I pick them up or not, whether I put them in my bag or not. I'm walking up and I'm interacting with different characters, and I get to choose how I respond to the different prompts that they give me. There's little side quests and puzzles and stuff, and I get to choose whether or not I want to do those side quests or solve those puzzles. I seem to have a fair amount of agency in this game. The philosophical quandary when it comes to whether or not I have a totality of choice is, can I make the choice to not play the game? Can I make the choice to exit the room I'm in? Did I choose to be in the room in the first place, or was I just placed there? If you say that it is God's will for me to have free will, then that means that it was someone else's decision for me to have the ability to make decisions. Did I get a say in that process? Did I get to weigh in on whether or not I wanted to participate in this scenario? It's very much the same way in real life. I wake up and I choose what clothes I'm gonna wear. I choose what I'm gonna eat that day. I choose what I'm gonna do with my day. But I can't make the decision to just start flying. I can't make the decision to turn invisible. I can't make the decision to have super strength. I can't make the decision to teleport my body to Mars or the moon. I am constrained by the physical laws of the universe that I find myself in. The game I find myself playing was specifically designed with certain limitations on how many decisions I am able to make. And I did not design it that way. Somebody else designed it that way for me. So the question then becomes, do I actually have the ability to freely make whatever choices I want, or do I just have the carefully crafted illusion of choice? Let's say I beat the game and I get the reward of getting to live at the creator's house. Can I opt out of that, or do I just have the two options? It's just like, go live at the creator's house or go to the torture realm. It feels like a trap from a Saw movie where Jigsaw's like, if you fail, it's gonna be really, really bad for you. But if you get it right, you can come live at my house with me. And it's like, oh, I don't wanna fail because that sounds really painful, but also, if it's okay, Jigsaw, I don't really wanna live at your house either. One more thing about informed consent, consequences, coercion, all that stuff. Let's say I decide I want to take a trip. I'm going to fly to New York City and I'm going to watch a Broadway show. I'm about to book my plane ticket when I realize it's my best friend's birthday that same weekend that I want to go. And now I have a decision to make of whether or not I want to fly to New York or whether I want to stay in town and celebrate my best friend's birthday. I decide I'm going to be a good friend and stay in town and rage for my best friend's birthday. As a consequence of my choice, somebody else buys the plane ticket that I was going to buy. And that plane winds up falling apart in midair because it was built by Boeing and everyone aboard dies. Is it reasonable or particularly moral to believe that I should be held accountable for that person's death? They are dead as a direct consequence of a decision that I made. Now you could say, no, you should not be held accountable for that because you did not know that that was going to be a consequence of the choice you were making. Now you're talking about informed consent and saying that it is not moral or reasonable to hold someone accountable for the consequences of a choice that they did not really fully understand or have all of the necessary information about. But let's say that I did actually have the necessary information. Let's say that right as I was about to buy my plane ticket, a magical wizard showed up and said, don't buy that plane ticket. That plane is going to fall apart in the sky. So in the interest of self-preservation, I don't buy the ticket. Should I be held accountable for what happens next in that scenario? Am I morally on the hook for the consequences of that decision? We can really keep going down this rabbit hole ad infinitum. And this is usually the point where theists will just say, look, if God is all-knowing, can't you just accept that it's possible that God knows more about this stuff than you do? And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the whole point, right? The creator of the universe or the creator of the video game I'm playing has more information than I do. And they seem to be intentionally withholding a good deal of pretty crucial information from me. Like, either I know as much as God does, and if I do, that's really scary because I don't know anything, or God just has so much more information than I have. And he's threatening me with eternal torture if I make the wrong decisions while simultaneously withholding information that could be instrumental in helping me make better decisions. So, pretty fun stuff.
Idiotic nonsense, spewing like a fountain overflowing with no one knowing the difference